Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So, continuing the subject of moon in different signs from the ascendant sign of Aries, we are now talking about its placement in the sign of Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius contains three nakshatras, that is, three star constellations. The first one is Mula, second one is Purva Ashada, the third one is Uttara Ashada. So Mula has all the four quarters, that is the first, second, third, and the fourth. The Purvashada constellation has again all its four quarters, the first, second, third, and the fourth. So the last one, the ninth Amsha of the sign of Sagittarius contains Uttarashada Nakshatra, that is Uttarashada constellation, first quarter. The Navamsas, why I am so much interested in the nakshatras when I am discussing moon, and I have not done it for the other planet like sun, or will not be doing it for other planets onwards like Mars and Mercury, is because moon will actually take the influence of the star more and give it to the native rather than any other planet. So the influence of that particular quarter in which the moon is placed is extremely important, and hence the D1 chart and the D9 chart for moon's placement is very important. So we all know that the Navamsha plotting for Sagittarius starts from the fifth from it. So the fifth sign from Sagittarius is Aries. And from Aries ascendant, Sagittarius is the ninth sign. And the ninth sign gives Mahabhagya Yoga. So, Bhagyasthanadipati or Bhagyasthana in English means a house which gives you luck, favor, fortune, and also a prosperous life. A prosperous life, a righteous life is what we are all living for. The placement of moon being the fourth lord, the lord of Cancer, the sign of Cancer, sitting in the sign of Jupiter, in the sign of Sagittarius, itself is a Raja Yoga. And how come it's a Raja Yoga, sir? We don't have all these, small Raja Yogas. We don't consider them. If you don't consider the small Raja Yogas, you will fail to understand astrology altogether. Because people are always interested with the hyper yogas, the big ones, the Gajakesari Yoga, the Vasumati Yoga, many other things. But the small yogas like the Kendra Sthanadipati, that is the Lord of the quadrant, that is Moon, sitting in the Trikona Sthana, that is the house which is the trine to the ascendant sign of Aries. This is the third trine, Aries being the first, the fifth being Leo. This is the third trine which has the same tattva, the Agni tattva. Moon is not favorably posited when it is in Agni tattva because moon represents Jala tattva. So Agni means fire and Jala tattva means watery. So moon is a watery planet which represents cool water, drinkable water, good water. And fiery houses or fiery signs are not good for it. It doesn't like it. But in particularly, there is an exception here. This fire of Sagittarius is the fire of knowledge, and moon is the mother of knowledge. Moon itself is mother. So it represents mother, it also represents the first starting knowledge, the base which gets created in the brain of the child. So in the infancy, what does the native learn? Whether it will be good for him, whether he'll be fortunate. Excellent placement of the fourth lord in the ninth house. but it is not such a great placement for the mother of the native. Why? It has moved 6 houses. We will count 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So from the fourth sign, it has moved 6 houses, which is not that great for the mother of the native. But for the native, it is a beautiful position. He has a good relationship with, he or she has a very good relationship with his or her mother. So let us go into the nakshatra quarters, because the second quarter of Mula Nakshatra falls in Taurus, where moon gets exalted. So that means between 3 degrees 20 minutes to 6 degrees 40 minutes in the sign of Sagittarius, moon achieves a beautiful position. And again, the fourth quarter, that is the fourth quarter of Mula Nakshatra, will fall in the Cancer Navamsha. D9, you can see that moon is in Cancer. So that gives rise to Swasthana, own house placement, own sign placement. It is also very good position for moon. When you go to Purva Shada Nakshatra, you can see that the fourth quarter of Purva Shada falls in Scorpio, which is its debilitation position. It is the debilitation position of moon in D9, which many people do not consider with that much of weightage, but still, when we calculate the strength in Shadbala, we calculate that position also, and hence it loses a tad of strength. So when we go to Uttarashada Nakshatra, the first quarter, that is the ninth amsha of Sagittarius, and there moon comes and sits back in the Sagittarius sign in the D9. So that is called Vargottama. So these three placements of Taurus, Cancer, and Sagittarius for moon in the D9 chart, when it is placed in the Sagittarius in the D1 chart for the native, please go through this and listen clearly. When people who are studying astrology, this is purely for those people who are actually putting a lot of effort into studying astrology, and I am teaching online. So please take the notes and do some chart workout, you will get it. So these placements of moon is favorable. So let us go into the results of this particular placement of moon in the ninth for Aries ascendant, particularly Aries ascendant. Since it's the fourth lord in the ninth house, it's a Yoga Karaka planet. It is a Raja Yoga planet, planetary position, a positive placement, a very religious and righteous placement. It makes the native pious, soft spoken, peaceful, does not want to go into unnecessary arguments and fights. He would always think high and live simple. So it's a beautiful placement for higher studies and into abstract subjects. Like, for example, somebody wants to do anthropology. Anthropology is not a direct subject which anybody would come in school and tell that this is a beautiful subject, children, you have to do this. Why do you go into engineering? Why do you go into, becoming a doctor in medicine? Do anthropology. Go into, do something like writing blogs. People will not know. Now these are all specializations. Technical writing, blog writing, it's itself a very big job. So that things keep changing as days go by, and these things, people should understand that the position of moon in the ninth gives a lot of flair to the chart. So this person can be a good mentor. See, a person who has the fourth lord means it is the house which is for education, goes into the position of higher education, can do very good in the field of education. So that means he can be a good teacher, a good guide, a good mentor, a good psychologist, a good psychiatrist, a good doctor in general medicine, and this is also a very good placement for the native's mother and mother's side, maternal side, to be strong, rich, and affluent. So having a strong background and support from maternal end is a very important thing for any child or any native. So when you go into the further understanding of this particular placement, you can understand that moon is placed in the Ketu's nakshatra, in the Shukra's nakshatra, and the Surya's nakshatra. That means Ketu's constellation Mula, Venus constellation Purvashada, and Sun's constellation in Uttarashada. So in both Ketu's constellation, and Sun's constellation, the mother's health might suffer. It will be good when it is placed in Venus constellation. But when moon is placed in Ketu and Sun, the native himself or herself can easily get promoted, into the spiritual level. They get elevated. They want to do some spiritual practices in their life, want to do service to this humanity or for this world. So that's a good placement. They have good friends. They have ethics in their own groups. If there is no ethics in the group where they are, they leave the group. So their ethics are very strong. So this is one of the strongest positions of moon in the chart. So thank you very much for today's class.